Hey everybody, it's Roy here, and sorry for the um and sorry if I've been like out of the loop when it comes to content creating. I've had a cold for the past couple of days, like which sucks too because like I was supposed to have my first date, and on Monday it was National Metal Day, and I wanted to make a list of my favorite metal bands to like talk about on that day. But now I had to postpone own those things, both those things to later. But luckily now that I'm feeling better, mostly aside from sounding nasal a couple times, I can talk about it now. So let's get started. And I just wanted to say I will be excluding bands like Marilyn Manson and Falling in Reverse, even though those bands have had a huge impact on me as when I discovered them, as when I found them in my adolescence. They're especially how they like help me cope with like turbulence in my adolescence. Like I will be excluding them due to like how due to the controversies of their frontmen, like Marilyn Manson himself and Ronnie Radke. I mean, I a part of me still does like Ronnie Radke, but given like how like a lot of the controversial things that he says, I like prefer to keep him to the side a little bit. And you know how and you know the and you know and anybody who knows Marilyn Manson knows that I don't even have to begin to explain the controversies with him and how horrific they are. Also, I just want to say that this is probably my first ever list of things that I like, or related to things that I like, or something that's not related to a life thing that I've made, or that's not like related to a vlogging or life, or talking about my life. Like this is something talking about something I like, something that means a lot to me. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. A day to remember. So to kick this list off, I guess I just wanted to start it with a band that's not like fully metal, but like mainly metalcore and screamo and a bit of emo if we're being precise. But like a band that still has a lot of metal elements to it, granted. And so um yeah, I discovered this band when I officially entered the emo lifestyle in my junior year of high school, and like when I was 16, and like I started listening to a lot of the big greats, and this band I discovered through um through I think two songs off their album Homesick. Those songs are Have Faith in Me, and probably one of their most popular songs, and the song that I still listen to this day, like was one of my main metalcore anthems, The Downfall of Us All. So yeah, this is a band that I discovered during a really important period of my a really rough but at the same time important period of my life, because their songs like really are important to me, because like aside from being free and feel good, and aside from be touching on themes of rebellion to fame and getting to where you want to go to in life, or remaining loyal to your partner or friends, then like that's the importance of Day to Remember's music. Like that's the themes that they touch upon. Like they touch upon those themes so greatly with their style of metalcore. Like and like and like that's and like their songs are just super catchy as well. Oh, and also best core songs I've ever heard. Also from Homesick, If It Means a Lot to You. Seriously, take a listen to that song and you'll be bound to come back to it over and over again. Aside from Day Remember, Florida has produced a lot of noticeable metalcore bands like Poison the Well, Under Oath, and Trivium, as well as other bands of the pop punk / emo genre like Mayday Parade, We the Kings, and a bunch of others that I might be missing. Let me know in the comments which other metalcore or pop punk bands from Florida there are. Mastodon. Now this is a metal band that I didn't get into until I got older, like when I reached my senior year of high school. And I was going through a really, really rough time. So like Mastodon like fits, as for the genre Mastodon, they fit under the term of a type of metal called progressive, alongside bands such as Queen Search, Tool, Symphony X, Dream Theater, that's a popular one, and System of a Down, which is one that many of my friends and close ones, including my girlfriend, are a fan of. I discovered Mastodon, I think when I was either 13 or 14, when I saw them do a song for the Aqua Teen Hunger Force movie at the opening scene of it. And at first I was just like, and this may sound ridiculous to say, but at first I was kind of like afraid of them because of like the intensity and the intensity of the song they did at the beginning of that film, and the violence of the lyrics. And I was kind of a wimp back then. I mean, I still am a little bit now, but like back then it was even bigger of a habit for me. So yeah, after hearing that song, I went back to their earlier work from their first two albums, Remissions and Leviathan. You know, that concept album based off Moby Dick. Like I I became hooked on them ever since then. And so they became one of my top favorite metal bands after that. Like, and pretty much the only progressive metal band that I since no other band like that I've listened to that I even have heard of, like, like as mentioned, Tool, Dream Theater, and System of a Down have come even close to matching like what Mastodon has, how much Mastodon has like really, really influenced me. I mean, or at least has had an impact on me. Like Leviathan is one of my favorite concept albums of all time. Like, because like metal concept albums in general like have shaped my interest in writing, but more on that later. But then in my senior year, when I was going through struggles at home and at school, and at home, I found their song "Curled the Burl" from their 2011 album, The Hunter. And it just occurred to me that 2011 was a really good year for music, I have to say. Like, so many great albums from so many artists that I appreciate, like Avril Lavigne, Simple Plan, Panic, Sleeping with Sirens, and Frank Ocean. Like, so many great artists that year. Like, yeah. Linkin Park. This next band fits into multiple genres: metal, new metal, power pop, as their sound would later transcend into, and like alternative rock as well, and maybe a little post grunge, I guess. But like there's so many people I know who love this band. Like, when I first discovered them, I did not know that they were this well known. I mean, I did know that they were this well known when I found out that Chester had died, but to find out that they were this popular and that this much of a cultural influence, it was really something. Like, yeah, I'm sorry I keep saying that. That's just a thing with me. Even though Linkin Park wasn't like a band that I grew up with, I mean, I didn't get into until I was 15. They are still one of my favorite bands, like, and their music like still resonates with me and like perfectly describe my depressive, angsty teen years to a T. Like, and multiple, and I'm glad I'm not the one person who feels this way. Like, like many people, like my girlfriend and like several of my best friends, like they love this band as much as I do. I mean, not. I mean, and yes, I have to address the elephant in the room. Like the new Linkin Park, it isn't as good as the OG one. Like especially with that Emily Armstrong woman being a Scientologist and all that, and like even though like good voice, but not that good at best of a background of a person, especially since she defended that Danny Masterson actor, Scientologist actor who got convicted of I mean SA as I have to call it nowadays. But yeah, the original Linkin Park, I still hold a special place in here, and with how perfectly they described my teen years. I have to say my favorite Linkin my favorite like the Linkin Park songs that still resonate with me are One Step Closer, Leave Out All the Rest, and Iridescent. My favorite has to be Iridescent because of like how much that's because of like how like that song just really transcends with me. Like I discovered that song when I was 16. I was going through this severe amount of grief after I lost one of my best friends, not to death, but after we just went our separate ways and stopped being friends again. And after and like and how I and just how I tried to let go of it all and like comfort myself since I was really misunderstood at the time. Especially since the chorus of the songs and in the song the lyrics go, remember all the sadness and frustration and let it go. Even though even though I discovered them a couple of years after Chester passed away, I still enjoy this. I still love and enjoy this band because because of Chester's voice. Chester had a voice that nobody. I don't have to say that, but Chester had a voice that nobody could match, and I mean nobody can match, and influenced a generation, and is just he's still missed to this day. Rest in peace to him. But like he still had a gift of talents, and it's just everything that he had like cannot be taken away even after he passed. And his story is one of heartbreak but inspiration. And though he's no longer live with us, his legacy will live on through his family, his friends, and even though I know there are people who are still mad at his bandmates for like moving on without him, them too, like for better or worse, like they what what those guys had or have, depending on who you ask, including me, like it can never be taken away. Like their lyrics, their live shows, their intensity, their what they did for their fans, especially, like it cannot be taken away. It's something that's residual. It's residential. It stays with you, and that's what it's bound to do forever. Suicide silence. Now, like Linkin Park, this is a band that I enjoy more of the original version of. Like wherein is Linkin Park the original version, the frontman was Chester. In this band, the original frontman was Mitch Lucker, who tragically passed away in 2012 from a motorcycle accident, wherein his Chester tragically took his own life. This is a band that I discovered, like, I think this year or early this year or late last year. This is a band that describes a lot of a lot of like a lot of the rage that I have deep down in me, like the feelings of wanting to scream, and because like Chester, Mitch could scream in a way that other people can barely even begin to try to replicate. Like his this band is I'm like Linkin Park. I wish I discovered this band like sooner in my childhood, but I guess it best also works from in my teen years as well. Even though I didn't discover them until I got into them when I was 18. Like Suicide Silence rules like really well. Like their songs Unanswered and Hands of a Killer, like I like those are really intense and really awesome songs that gets you headbanging, that gets you pumping your fists, that gets you all the right things that you should do as a metalhead. There's also a documentary on YouTube dedicated to Mitch's life and the band in general, and it's really nice. I'll try to link it in the description below if you want to see it. Deftones. Oh boy, now this is a band that I'm really excited to talk about. I talk about this is going to be a really popular one, and like Deftones is like I'm glad that Deftones became one of my all-time favorite bands because their music is just not only makes you feel several different emotions, but their music can also be really relaxing as well. So it makes you feel so good in a way. It makes you feel all the right emotions when you're going through stuff, when you're going through angst, when you're going through a relationship, when you're any life scenarios that teens and young adults can relate to. Like it's so like they're like it's so their songs can feel like no matter what emotion you're feeling, basically their songs they reach out to you in so many different ways, as the new metal genre should. My favorite Deftones song has to be Bored from, I mean, at least currently it has to be Bored from their debut album Adrenaline, which I'm glad, because that's also my girlfriend's favorite Deftones song, because I'm often bored with life, and that song just, even though the song basically has multiple different meanings, that's like that I love that it's that it like the lyrics are just so relatable, and that it's just so, and the song makes you feel like a boss when you listen to it. Basically, there's something about Chino Marino's voice that's just so calming. It's just so cathartic to listen to. So whether he's singing lyrics like "Here I lay," or singing really abrasively, no matter what tone he's singing it, no matter what tone he's singing, it's just always a treat to listen to. His vocal style isn't, I wouldn't say prolific, but it is definitely one of the best voices in metal, and I dare say the best voice in alternative metal that I've ever heard. I remember discovering them in my senior year when one of my best friends introduced me to them, and how I became and how at first I only liked them. At first I only liked them for their style and their image, as how it is with some other bands that I like that are lower on the list or just honorable mentions. But now they became one of my favorite bands, one of the definitive things that like, that, and one of the definitive bands that I like today. And I could not be more grateful for that. I was thinking about seeing them next year, but I saw how much the tickets are, and like, yeah, I don't want to take that. I don't have, I can't, I don't think I could afford that for now. But like, I am super glad that to have them in my catalog now, and that I can, and that like, and so many of my friends love them too. Like that's like I love a band that's not only relatable to you, that's also relatable to other people, and that you can also rock out to. Evanescence. Now, originally, this was a band that I knew about from, I think from middle school to early high school, that I only liked at first for their style. I only knew them. I only knew them at first from. I think I only knew them from from their two main songs, "Bring Me to Life" and "My Immortal." But all the other ones I just didn't. All the other ones, including my favorites, um, "Going Under," "Good Enough," and the last song, "I'm Wasting on You." Like I didn't discover until later on in life. Like I discovered, like, I got into Evanescence after, like, when I was going through, like, after my senior year, when I found their song "Good Enough," and that song, and how after I went through a lot of trauma and despair in my senior year, that song really reached out to me. And even though "Going Under" is my favorite Evanescence song, that song is a close second because of like just how well because of like how well the piano playing by Amy Lee is, and like she's super talented and such not only a great singer but a great instrumentalist as well. And like so many aspects of that band I still love to this day. I'm also obsessed with the story of Evanescence, from how the band started out to like where they are now. Like so much about it is just so interesting to me. Like the story of the beginning of their life, like the different eras, including the era of their first album, Fallen, and and like Amy Lee herself, her story, and like how and like her relationship with the original guitarist Ben Moody, and how so much of it is just so great story wise. And like Fallen is still like an album that I would recommend for today's generation, like just because of how well like people know the words to each song, and like how much the songs reach out to you, like with Amy's great vocals, the instrumentals of the album. And like even though like the Open Door, I think that's the name of the I think that's the name of the of their of one of their their follow-up albums to Fallen, like is a close second. Fallen is still like an album that like still reaches out to you, and I have to say, like, it still resonates with the generation. Whether you're dealing with loss, dealing with personal turmoil in your life, if you feel you need the use for you need the use of a power boost in your life, or you want to feel powerful, Evanescence, that's what they'll do. That's the kind of vibe they'll make. That's the kind of vibe they'll do for you. Ghost. This is another band that I'm super excited to talk about, and I'm glad I put it so high on this. Even though this list doesn't have a really specific format, I'm so glad that I put this band so high on this list. This is one of those bands that my girlfriend got me into because of and I'm super glad that she did, because like because like this is a band that has an entire lore attached to it, and it's not just a band. It's just super good that to listen to. Like I love it. I love the concept of the album, prequel. I'm sorry if I'm correct me if I pronounce that wrong. It's I love that album because of like how just like you can tell like how the musicianship of the band in general is just super good. Like, I mean, I'm not super deep into the lore yet, I have to admit, but like, yeah, like yeah, it's their image is just so captivating. Like, I don't know, I'm not sure I can't put my finger on it what it is yet, but yeah, it's just something that like that like is just so that just resonates with so many people, like with my girlfriend and a lot of my friends from college, and yeah. As for my favorite Ghost songs, I would have to say Call Me Little Sunshine, that's a banger. Darkness at the Heart of My Love, another banger. Um Spillways, that's a really good one. He Is, From the Pinnacle to the Pit, Life Eternal, Rats, and of course, how could you not love them without mentioning Dance Macabre and Squarehammer? My mind was so blown, I forgot to mention they're probably one of their most well-known songs ever, Cerise. Oh yeah, and I might make a vlog about this sometime next, like in the future, like like in several months from now. But um, on my birthday, July 19th, coming in next year, me and my girlfriend are going to see Ghost in Philly, and we are super excited about it. So I'll make a vlog about that when it happens. Okay. You know how I said I like certain bands for either their style or their music? Well, this is one of those bands I like for both their style and their music. I loved everything about them, like the style, the music, the lore, the musicianship, everything about them. I haven't seen like their movie yet. They released a movie not too long ago, and I can't wait to see it. I'll probably see it with my girlfriend since movie nights are in the catalog for future for us, and yeah, this I can't wait to. I'm so glad I'm getting deeper and deeper into this into the ghost lore, and and getting more and more into them as time goes on, and I'm glad they're one of my new favorite metal bands. Machine Head. This is one of the more underrated bands of metal bands of all time, because even though they're popular, I don't really see that many people talking about them as much as most groove metal or thrash metal bands out there, because of just like how because like even though they're well known, they're just not as well known. As you know, I don't know if I mentioned this or not yet, but groove metal is one of my favorite metal genres or subgenres, and so like this band probably is one of those bands that best represents that for me. I found Machine Head when I discovered that I have the same birthday, July 19th, as lead singer Rob Flynn, and I decided, you know what, maybe I should listen to this band since I already since you know how I am, like I discover I have the same birthday as somebody, I become instantly attached to their work, except Shane Dawson. Like I look, so I discovered this band through a couple songs. Like I can't remember which song it was, but I think it was probably Locust off their 2011 album Unto the Locust, and I became instantly addicted, not addicted, but captivated by their music, and how aggressive and how how melodic their songs are, and how great the guitar works and breakdowns in their songs are. I haven't listened to their newest albums yet because I'm the type of person who likes the older work, who prefers to listen to largely the older work of certain artists. I mean, depending on like who the artist is or what the genre is, or if their newest work is good or not. But I'll get around to doing that. Also, um, I was hoping to see Machine Head like in concert, but when I discovered that they're going to Sick New World and won't be going anywhere near my state 8 anytime soon, I decided I scrapped that plan I shelved that plan and for a little bit. But yeah, to analyze the reason why I love Machine Head is um their aggression, their intensity, their their the angst-ridden playing style, and how well it's done. Rob Flynn's gruff but also angelic voice, with how it goes from gruff to angelic, like depending on like the parts of the song and how well it blends, and overall how it represent how like they represent everything I love about groove metal, like to a T. And how I'm glad to be a fan of them, especially given how underrated they are. Like, I love things that are underrated. So for some, I don't know, because like I'm an unconventional person. As an eccentric person, I guess I guess that also brings to the table like what I love about being eccentric. And now I think this is and now I think this is the time where there should be honorable mentions. Iron Maiden. This is a band that every metalhead should be into. Like, no matter, even if aren't a fan of the metal genre in general, there's a lot about their music that captivates people in general. Like their theatrical shows, how story driven a lot of their albums and songs are, and Bruce Dickinson's great, and Paul Di'Anno's, their early vocalists, both of that, rest in peace to him, both of their awesome vocals and their intense energy and their live performances and their work. Korn. Even though I like this band, that's just it. I just like this band. And even though I listen to a lot of their songs, like mostly from their first album, a lot, to get the aggression out, because that's what their music really does. It gets releases all sorts of emotions. I decided to leave them off the list because their songs, they're mostly songs that I just like to listen to occasionally, like especially since a lot of the songs I like are from their first album. Cradle of Filth. Originally, this was a band I was going to include on the countdown. I mean, not countdown, but list. But I decided to put them in the honorable mentions because they're gothic, because like they're one of those bands that I like more for their style than the music. Like even though I love their image and and I do like their music, I decided to include them in the honorable mentions because they're just, like I said, they're a band that I like more for their style, appreciate more for their style and image than their music, as well as for their theatrical shows. POD. This was yet another band that I was going to include in the countdown. I mean, list, but decided against it because even though I do like this band, because like Cradle of Filth, even though I do like this band, that's just it. I just like them. I only listened to like 2 or 3 songs by them. Boom, Youth of a Nation, and I think one other one. I can't really remember right now which one it was. Oh yeah, Alive. Anyway, since they're a Christian metal band, so I guess and as somebody who grew up who in a Christian household. I guess that's why some of their songs really appealed to me, because like even though they're a metal band, they show that metal doesn't have to be all cussing and grunting and I mean and violence. They can just be emotions, which that's what their music is from what I've seen. Alice in Chains. Though this isn't necessarily fully a metal band, as it's best known as a grunge band, I decided to include it anyway in the honorable mentions, and because it's just because their music is just too great not to mention. Like, so many great songs aside from their signature song Wood. There's also Bleed the Freak, Rooster, Them Bones, Down in a Hole, and so many others. Like, they mean not just to grunge people, but also to emo people. I mean, not emo people, to alternative metal people in general, since that's the category that they fit under. White Zombie. Even though I only listened to a couple songs from this band, and I had to make room for them on the honorable mentions list, because since they fit into the category of groove metal, which is one of my all-time favorite metal genres, I had to make room for them in the honorable mentions list. Plus, my girlfriend is a Rob Zombie fan, so I guess that matches up with both of our interests. Kill Switch Engage. Obviously, or in my opinion, you can't call yourself a metalcore fan unless you like the pioneers of metalcore. I mean, I only listen to like one or two songs by them, so I can't really say that. So that's why I put them in this honorable mentions. But still, like, I can see why, I can see why they're appealing. Like, they're like the main thing of metalcore that you have: aggression, intensity, and captivation of the crowd, which is what this band has. Breaking Benjamin. Obviously, I couldn't stop at Alice in Chains when I mentioned in the genre of alternative metal. So I decided to mention a band that like fits under the category of not only alt metal, but also post grunge. Like, wherein his Alice in Chains was full grunge. Breaking Benjamin is post grunge and alt metal. So like yeah, this is this became one of my new favorite bands, which I discovered, a band that I found probably in, I think, 11th grade, junior year. So, and they've gradually become one of my favorite alt metal bands ever since. And like one of my best friends says he's seen them at least 5 times, and I've seen videos of their live shows, and obviously I can tell why people like them, because of Benjamin Burnley's great vocals and playing, and the passionate and passionate songs and live shows. Avenged Sevenfold. I only listened to like 4 of their songs: Unholy Confessions, Nightmare, Bat Country, and Afterlife. But still, like, even though I appreciate them more for their style than their music, and I only listen to like 4 of their songs, they're a band that I like for their not just their style, but for also, I guess, the scope of their work and their lyrical contents, like, which to me is one of the most important aspects of liking a band. I've only listened to 4 Avenged Sevenfold songs. Those songs are Afterlife, Nightmare, Unholy Confessions, and Bat Country. But they're really good songs, and they're really symbolic of the band's musicianship and musical abilities and style. And yeah, like, I'm glad that I found them through those songs. Plus, they fit well into the genre of early metalcore, so I guess that also checks out. And for my favorite metal band, or close to favorite, Pantera. Pantera. this is undoubtedly the band that made me the metalhead I am today. Like, and do I even have to explain why? Okay, obviously I do, because for their style, their music, their scope, the lyrical content, the themes, the the playing, especially from the late Dimebag Darrell, rest in peace to him, and Phil Anselmo's awesome voice, Vinnie Paul's really, really, really hard hitting, figuratively and literally drumming skills, and everything about them in general, I guess, from the very start when I got into them. I guess you could also say they're the band that made groove metal one of my all-time favorite genres or subgenres. Originally, they started out as a glam metal band back in the 80s, but come the 90s after Phil joined the band in the late 80s, they became the band we know today. And their major label debut album, Cowboys from Hell, is one of the best. I know it's not meant to be a concept album, but it's one of the best concept albums I've ever heard, because of like how it touches upon, because of not only it represents their change in style and how they're entering and how they fit their new entrance to metal, to the metal genre, but also how but also how like but also like the general themes of the album as well, like aside from introducing the band to the metal, to reintroducing the band to the metal world. It also like deals with themes of loss, like Cemetery Gates does, um and feelings of love, not knowing your place in the world, and or losing yourself in the world. Like my favorite song from the album, and one of my favorite Pantera songs ever, "Sleep." The Sleep. Speaking of The Sleep, that song has to contain what is probably, in my opinion, Dimebag Darrell's best guitar solo ever. Like most casual or newcomer Pantera fans, I discovered them through their signature song, "Walk." As for my favorite Pantera songs, I'd have to say that they're probably Cemetery Gates, The Sleep, Psycho Holiday. All three of those are from Cowboys from Hell, and oh yeah, Hollow, I'm Broken, and The Badge from the Crow movie, and like and oh yeah, and also Revolution Is My Name, because that song is just so that song is like because that song and that album, Reinventing the Steel, their last album before they broke up. I mean, the original incarnation of that band broke up. That song is just epic, especially for their last album. And so I guess the best way to give the final statements about this video is to like wear this Pantera shirt I got for either Christmas or my birthday. And so the final thoughts. Pantera truly describes everything I love about metal. Epic guitar work, killer drum beats, vocals that are powerful beyond words, and just in general, um like making you feel power inside you when you listen to them. Like all the right feelings you should have, all the right feelings that music should do when you listen to them. So what are your favorite metal bands? Let me know in the comments below, and and I'll see you next time. Stay cool and stay good.